Are you a first-time home buyer? In this video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know from A through Z if you're buying a home for the first time. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am your host, Leo Landaverde, commercial lender and real estate investor, helping you increase your wealth. Real estate will always be the #1 vehicle for you to increase your wealth as well as your net worth. If you're ready to learn more about real estate and how to secure the financing for your next real estate purchase, then subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the bell and you'll be notified every Thursday when a new video comes out. Step number 1, know your numbers. And I should know that because I am an accountant and I run an accounting firm in California. So I'm always concerned about the numbers, and you should too. And it's better to know the numbers long before anybody else does, especially a bank. So there are 4 numbers you need to know to ensure that you can buy a house right. Okay, number 1 is your credit score, also known as FICO. It's basically the composite of 3 basic credit bureaus, which is TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Now, my tip is the higher, the better your FICO score. Now, if you're hovering around 650 or more, you're doing fine. Now, I always tell my clients, the higher, the better. Now, there is a great tool that absolutely you suggest you watch it. The link will be at the bottom of this video. It's called Credit Karma. It's a free service where actually you can pull your credit, basically your credit score without actually creating an inquiry in your credit, which is what diminishes your credit over time. If you're applying for a loan everywhere and the more inquiries, the more it hurts your credit. So this tool is awesome. I had a client in which they were looking to refinance a property and they needed to gain 20 points. So they were actually at 630. They needed to get to 650. So if you haven't done so already, I recommend that you do that because they were not ready to refinance. They needed to be at 650. So I paired up with a great resource that I have, a basically a repair agency, and that I was able to help them. That got to 650. It took a little bit, but it got to 650. So your FICO is critical. Number 1.2 is know your ideal monthly payment. There is no point in you buying a house you can afford, right? And I have done a series of videos on that under my home loans. If you go to my channel, you're gonna find them, how much house can I afford at 60,000? How much house can I afford at 100,000? How much house can I afford with an FHA loan? How much house can I afford with an VA loan? And I've done probably about 7 or 8 videos that you should be watching because it gives you an idea how to calculate. And I have a free mortgage calculator that I would love to give to you. If you just, the link to download will be here, but it's a great tool to know because you want to know your ideal PITI, which stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance payment that you're going to have. And there's comprised in the bank will look at your front end ratio, which is your mortgage payment against your gross income. And they're also going to look at your back-end ratio when the loan is said and done, which includes all of the minimum monthly payments from your credit score. So you see how all this kind of ties together? So know your ideal monthly and watch these videos that are going to be very helpful to you so you'll be informed. 1.3 is you got to know exactly how much you can afford to put down. Now, people are in different places. I always say, the more the better. So if you have 10%, you're in good shape. Now, if you're a veteran, you can qualify for a 0% down loan, which means 0 money out of pocket. But that doesn't mean no money out of your pocket because the next is going to be your closing costs. That's the next number that you need to have is typically, I'll get back to that in a second, but typically your closing costs are going to be anywhere from 2 to 5% of the purchase price. So you need to know that. So even as I said, if you know exactly how much you can afford, if you have the ideal PITI payment you want to make, which is your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, you're still going to have to deal with your closing costs. So if best case scenario for a VA person, you're actually a retired, honorably discharged veteran and are looking to buy a house, that's phenomenal. Now, I know of a veteran who actually went ahead and purchased a duplex with 0% down, rented one of the units and lived in the other one. How awesome is that? More on real estate investing, other videos later, so I don't want to digress. Step 2, you got to get pre-approved. So there is nothing more disheartening to me that I see people go and start shopping around for a house they can't afford. You know, they really can't afford it. So you're looking at houses. So say if you remember, the step number 2 is to get pre-approved. So if you're not pre-approved and you skip step 2 and then you start looking for, properties, then you're gonna be in for a rude awakening, because there's nothing worse than falling in love with a property you can afford. So step number 3, you gotta find a local realtor in your area. Now, if you are in New York City, you need to find a local New York City agent. And the reason for that is because each city has its own micro, ecosystem. Now, if you're, in one part of the country, in a large city, like for instance, if you're in a large metropolitan area like Los Angeles, and I know that area very well, it could have 10 different areas. The west side is entirely different than the San Fernando Valley. Orange County is entirely different than downtown. South Pasadena, the east area is gonna be entirely different. Santa Monica and Malibu is a whole other area. So you gotta find a realtor that actually knows those zip codes where you want to buy. Step number 4, location. Location matters. Now you gotta do your research. Now, with the advent of the internet, and now most buyers are sophisticated. So you should be looking at Realtor.com, you should be looking at Zillow and Trulia, and start really understanding, if you live in the neighborhood, I expect you to know your neighborhood, but some of you live in bigger cities, so you're gonna start kind of driving around and see what you see, and you may have pockets, certain zip codes that really appreciated that much, but have great potential value. So if you're looking for a large lot, not all of those zip codes will have that. So you gotta know your location, you gotta do your homework, you gotta come equipped. There is nothing better, education and knowledge is power. So if you come with a list of potential and you find yourself a realtor and you're actually buying, it'll help the realtor so much know what you're actually looking at, and you're not gonna waste time. Number 5, you're gonna make an offer. Right now, we are in a seller's market. So if you're watching this video, it's 2021. You may be watching this video a year from now. 2021 is a seller's market. And you wouldn't think it is, but it is. We are just recovering from a pandemic, but yet it is a seller's market. The reason for that is because even though a lot of people lost their jobs and the unemployment rate went up, a lot of us did well and benefit, actually increased value, increased income. So what happens is more and more people are buying real estate, which is kind of counterintuitive, but it is true. So when you make an offer, this is what you need to know when you're making an offer. You gotta make a solid offer. If you know you're in a seller's market, you gotta know going in that there will be multiple offers to your offer. So if you have to ensure your chances, have contingency plan, an escalation clause that is going to allow you to bid the next offer by a certain percentage or by a certain dollar amount. You got to have your earnest money deposit ready, and you have to have a seasoned down payment. But let's go back to that was step 2, getting pre-approved. If you're working with a lender, so you're going to find a realtor and you're going to find a lender. If you're working with a lender, one of the things I should be asking you is, look at your bank statements to see where your deposit is coming from. So if you have that deposit, you want to have it in your bank account and your savings account at least a few months before, ideally 2+ months. That is going to allow you to be ready to go, right? Because you're gonna, when you make an offer on a property, you're gonna have a deposit to make. Now, if the deal falls through, you're gonna get that money back. So I said a solid offer, earnest money deposit, you gotta have your pre-approval letter ready to go. And last but not least, 5.4 I call it, you have to have a personal letter telling the seller why they should sell it to you. Now, this is an opportunity, basically, lack of a better word, this is like your resume, and this is like resume with love letter combined. You're telling the seller why you have fallen in love with their home, specifically what made you choose their property. And the more you connect with the seller at a heart level, because they may have 2 or 3 offers that are just equal or better than yours, but if they connect with you, I know it's happened to me. If you connect with the story of the seller and you understand what this property would mean to you, remember, the seller, it's an emotional decision. No matter what anybody tells you, when somebody's selling a property, especially if they lived there for 20+ years, it's gonna be an emotional decision. So you really have to come at it with the heartstrings. So, and that's it. Oh, hold on, there's one more step, escrow. So if your offer gets accepted, you're gonna be getting into escrow, and this is where basically you're gonna be responsible for some of the expenses like, the home inspection and the appraisal, removing the contingencies. And after all of that, hopefully if you did your part right and your agent did the part right and the selling agent did the part right, you should be able to get a home within 30 to 45 days after you go in escrow. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please comment below. I read and respond to all your messages and all your comments within 24 hours. Also, if you have any ideas about videos that I should be making in the future, please let me know. I'm always listening to new ideas to help this channel get to the next level. Thank you. If this video was helpful to you, you're really gonna enjoy these two videos. Please watch them next. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.